Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Nadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapad Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahigana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitasha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarivascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you for joining. I know devotees are looks like very busy these days in Damodar. Anyway, whoever is here will continue.
A few devotees said they are at work and they'll be able to join a little late, so I'm just keeping it open.
Sorry, bro, your voice is a little low.
Sorry, bro, can you hear me now, bro?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I just mentioned, Prabhu. So a few devotees messaged me and said they will join a little late because they're returning from work.
Okay, no worries.
7:30.
Let's see. Okay, so let's start from chapter 5. I'm not sure how many devotees were there last week. Jamati Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I wasn't there. I was in a
You
Damodar
were there,
program.
yeah, I was thinking like that. Jack Prakash Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Were you there last week, Prabhuji?
Yeah, I was there, Prabhu.
Okay, so we can start from Jack Prakash Prabhu. We're not able to take your darshan, just the audio.
Sorry, Prabhu. Yeah.
It's okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. So we started on 525 last week. Or what we can do, Sumit Prabhu, I'm just thinking, because there are few devotees here, we can only do the revision of the main verses, because it will come back to probably 2 devotees, or 3 devotees again and again. I'd like to revise all these verses. Okay, let's start from 529, because that's one of the most important verses. Is it okay, Jayaprakash Prabhu?
Sure, Prabhu. I'll try to recollect what I've written.
Yes.
Yeah. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubt.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. We're just doing 529, because I know there's really like 3 devotees who were present in the last class. And then 3 devotees doing 13 verses might be too much.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material measures. So I think, Prabhu, as we were explaining last time, this talks about how one can remain as peaceful living in this material world, being a conditioned soul, living in this material body. So the peace formula has been given in this. So what Lord is saying is, He is the Bhoktaram, who's the beneficiary. Like all the austerities finally need to please Krishna, and he is the enjoyer. Bhoktaram is enjoyer. So similarly, he is the Yagna Purusha. He is the all the austerities, yagnas are finally meant to please him. And similarly, he is the Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the proprietor of all the planetary systems. And on top of it, even though he is possessing all these opulences, but still he is always down to earth in the terms of he is always approachable to the devotees. That's why he says he is a beneficiary. He always is a well-wisher and friend of all the living entities. So whenever we link everything as that Lord is always with us and he is our ultimate friend and beneficiary, then obviously we become a bit peaceful. And I think one of the example which you gave was especially when the kids are with parents. If the parents are always taken care of the kids, when they are in the association of their parents, they feel more peaceful. They don't need to really struggle to get anything. So similarly, once we realize that Lord is everything and everything emanated from him, and he is the Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, and he is the enjoyer, and we are only a tiny part of part and parcel of the Lord, trying to do whatever little we could do, but everything finally need to go and satisfy the Lord. So if we try to gradually develop that kind of a consciousness, which will finally result in Shanti Mrichati, which is like one achieves Shanti, which is again being peaceful, being in this material world. We don't need to go anywhere. I mean, when time arises, Lord will arrange if he feels they are eligible. But yeah, so that way at least we can become more peaceful living in this material world. That's my little notes what I have to do. Thank
you, Prabhuji. Just one thing which Prabhuji has explained very nicely. We can add, Prabhupada called this verse as a specific name.
Peace formula.
Peace formula. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. And why he is called as peace formula? As you gave a very right example, as a child feels very safe and peaceful in the parent's lap, we can also feel the same peace if we are in the lap of Krishna, if we are complete in shelter of Krishna. And I think we're talking about this line of Prabhupada last week. Unless one understands these bare facts, it is not possible to achieve peace in the world either individually or collectively. And I think we also discussed about how when we understand these facts, then we become peaceful, because at the moment we think we are the Bhokta, we are the Sarvlok Maheshwaram, and we are the beneficiary of everything, basically. So when we have this feeling without Krishna, then we will always be unpeaceful. And unless we are peaceful individually inside our heart, we cannot be peaceful outside. I think we're discussing when we are happy or distressed, whatever feelings or emotions we have inside, the same feeling or emotions we give it to others, which are around us. So if we are happy inside, we are peaceful inside, we'll give peace outside. Thank you, Prabhu. Let's go to chapter 6. So just a quick look at these ones, the sections of chapter 6. So as we discussed last week, there are 6 sections in this chapter. The first one is Yoga Ruruksha to Yoga Arudha practice. Anyone remembers the meaning of Aruruksha and Arudha? Huh?
Neophyte stage is Aruruksha.
Thank you, Prabhu. And Arudha is the perfected stage. So Krishna in these 9 verses obviously summarizes how what will be the situation of a person who is starting the yoga, and what will be the situation of the person who is advanced in yoga. the second section, which we will start today, stages in yoga practice and samadhi. So basically, this section will explain how do you go from a sadhana stage to a siddha stage, from a beginning stage to a perfected stage. So that's what this section will talk about. And then the last 5 verses in this section, in the next section, perfection of a yogi. Realization of Krishna is the super soul. And we also had another classification done. So 10 to 15 is speaking about realization of Brahman. 16 to 23 talking about realization of Paramatma, and 24 to 32 is talking about realization of Bhagwan. So this section says 28 to 32. Another classification says from 24 onwards, it starts. And then we have Ashtanga Yoga rejected by Arjun. So Arjun will have 2 questions and Krishna will respond to those questions. And Arjun have further more questions. What will be the destination of unsuccessful yogi? Krishna will respond to that. And the final 2 verses belongs to the topmost yogi. Who's the topmost yogi? And there it will be established bhakti as a topmost yoga and a bhakta or a devotee as a topmost yogi. Okay. 6.1. We'll do the first one. It's a very nice verse. Prasannatma Prabhu, you were there in the last class?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Okay. Would you like to try?
Yeah, try. Start with translation. 6.1. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated, he is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic and not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. So here Lord says, better than mere renunciation is like doing your duty, not sitting idle. So he said already he has explained in 5th chapter about the Jnana Yogi, like he is already self-realized. So he does the duty not to for the fruity worker, but he does it as a to show up others, like as an example, like how you have to do your work. So that's what here it says. Without any attachment, he does his duty. That's what Lord says here. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. And we can also add one extra line, Sasannyasi cha yogi cha. So he is a true renunciate and he is a true yogi. Because what does sannyas mean here? Just in general, in this context. So sannyas is renunciation, but in this context, what do we understand from this word? So giving up the fruitive mentality. Okay. This sansar, this material world will give me, some happiness. So sasannyasi, so he gives up all the ashray, all the tendency of enjoying the fruits of his work. He gives up that. And chayogi, and yoga means connection. Connection to what? Connection to the divine, Supreme, connection to the Supreme. So the 2 things go simultaneously. As we say, when your love for Krishna develops, your love for material world automatically decreases. They both go simultaneously. So you start getting sannyas, not in terms of just a formal dress. In terms of mentality, your mind will get less attached to the material things and your mind will get more attached to Krishna. So sannyasi cha yogi. So he is a true renunciate, he is a true yogi, not the person who does not light up the fire or who does not do any activity. So many times the definition of sannyasi in general they understand is so they don't need to do any activity, but Krishna is sort of rejecting that definition. Is saying just by not doing activity you cannot become a sannyasi. So Arjun, if you run to the jungle and think by not doing activity you become a sannyasi, actually that's not the true definition of sannyasi. A true sannyasi is not attached to the material world and attached to Krishna. That's very, very important. If
Prabhupada, like he showed all the classic example. He did everything. It looks from a materialistic perspective, he looked like he's doing same thing. Like he was flying. No sannyasis flew out of India. Yes. Then he was conducting marriages. All those things he was doing, but he was doing it only for the satisfying Krishna. He was completely not attached.
Yeah, and that's why Prabhupada showed a best example of how you can dovetail every single activity in the service of the Lord. Rather than leaving the activity, Prabhupada said you have to dovetail the activity. And then you can be doing whatever work you are doing in your life, whatever ashrama you are in, wherever you are in, that doesn't matter. That's not so important. The important thing is how you dovetail your life and activities in aligned to Krishna consciousness. Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Raghavi Mataji, were you there last week?
Yes, Prabhu, but I'm sorry, I don't remember much.
Okay, no worries. So I'll get back to Sumit Prabhuji. Sorry.
No, Prabhu, I was going to say I can try.
Yes, yes.
Okay, with the translation first. What is called renunciation, you should know to be the same as yoga, linking oneself with the Supreme, O son of Pandu. For one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. So, Prabhu, here we were again talking about, what do we call as sannyas?
Prabhu, your voice is a bit low. If you could come a little closer.
Okay, I'll pull it a little closer.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Is it better, Prabhu?
A little better. Maybe you can speak a little louder.
Okay, I'll try to speak.
It's for everyone's benefit and just to make sure it goes well in recording.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we call sannyas? Sannyas, we said, was disconnecting with the desire of sense gratification, and yoga is connecting with the Supreme. And we also said you don't become a devotee by just connecting with Krishna. We also need to disconnect from the sense gratification. So the Sanskrit words that
Actually, it's other way. You don't become devotee just by disconnecting. If you connect with Krishna only, actually that will do. But in our situation, because we are so much stuck in the material world, we say you have to connect with Krishna, connect with Krishna, connect with Krishna, because we are not connected with Krishna, because we are so much connected with the material world. So in our situations like that, but if you just disconnect the material world and do not connect with Krishna, then actually it's halfway, as Arjun was trying to do. He was disconnecting with the material world and trying to sort of, get out of that battle situation. But Krishna says that will not do. That will not do. Well, that's incomplete. Sorry, Prabhu, please continue.
Sure. And you give an example, like if you don't do that, it is like driving the car with the brake on.
Yes.
So you try doing it, but it won't move anywhere. You'll
Yes.
stay where you are. So you need to leave the bhoga, which is basically leave all those material activities. And if you're not giving the desire of sense gratification, you're not a yogi. Some Sanskrit words that we could.
You can take the third line, Prabhuji. Nahi asanyasta sankalpo. So sanyasta and asanyasta. Sanyas means to give up. Asanyas, not giving up. What we are not giving up? Sankalpaha. What does sankalpa mean?
Basically,
So
self-satisfaction or.
So sankalpa means, so mind does two things, sankalpa and vikalpa. Sankalpa means I want to do this, vikalpa means I don't want to do it. So your mind will always tell you, do this and don't do this for whatever good or bad reasons. But the sankalpa means you want to do it. So here sankalpa refers to you want to do those material sense gratification. So he asanyasta. So if you do not give up the desire for your determination of sense gratification, you cannot become a yogi. Huh? So sankalpa refers to material desires. Prabhupada writes, desire for self-satisfaction. And that sankalpa here refers to like, you're determined to do it. I have to have this car. I have to have this house. How can I have a car lesser than this? How can I wear some simple clothes like that? So you have a sankalpa, you have some self of identity, and you want to fulfill those desires. Material, obviously. Huh? So Prabhupada says, desire for self-satisfaction. It can come in the status, your clothes, your look, your car, or whatever. Huh? So you take sankalpa. No, I have to have, kam se kam BMW to hona chahiye. At least BMW, minimum. Whatever. So that's called sankalpa. So he asanyasta sankalpa. So if you don't give up the desire for self-satisfaction, yogi for na yogi. So now I will come to the fourth line. Na yogi. You cannot become a yogi like that. So basically, you're trying to satisfy your material desires as well as advance in Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada said, Krishna conscious advancement and material sense gratification go ill together. They don't gel together. So if you're doing both, you won't advance. You will definitely get benefit. Anyone who gets in touch with Krishna will get the benefit. But how much benefit? That's the question. Okay, thank you, Prabhu. We see Rupam Prabhu joining. I'm not sure whether he was there last week. No, he was not there. Okay, I got the indication, so that's fine.
No, bro, I wasn't there last time.
That's okay. I've already got to know from Sujit Prabhu. Jai Prakash Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Vinay Prabhu, I think you're in just in a listening mode, I guess.
I can try.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't ask you just because I thought you may not be able to speak. But if you can, please.
Yes, it's 6.3 translation. For one who is renovated in the Eightfold Yoga system, work is said to be the means end. For one who is already elevated in yogas, this session of all material activities is said to be the means. So in here, I wrote down Prabhuji. Arudokha is becoming bhaktas, and Yoga Arusha is already in practice the yoga. It's like Astanga Yoga, everything, but we cannot go out from our duty, externally and internally. So we can't come out our responsibility. That's why they say we have to do this our prescribed duty. So then we become the one that we become the Krishna, and we will be we'll reach the yogi position, like so this short note I write down.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. You have said the gist. I'll just read some sentences. So Aruroksh, as I think someone was saying earlier, is a neophyte state in yoga. So when you say join a gym, for example, or any other methods like that, any sporting activity, so you start the gym, and then you follow certain rules and regulations given by the trainer, and then after 6 months or something, you can show your muscles, how much muscles you have. So then you can say the advanced stage. So in the yoga, when you're initially practicing yoga, and we'll come to those initial stages of yoga, karma karanam uchase. So your advancement will be based on karma, duties. As Vinay Prabhu nicely said, we cannot come out of our duties. We have to follow our prescribed duties. So if you're coming out in a neophyte state, suppose the trainer is asking you to lift the dumbbells every day, for 1 hour, and you say, no, I'm very advanced. I don't need to lift the dumbbell. What will happen? Will you grow your muscles? No, because you are in the beginning state. Now, after you're completely there, then you may skip few things because you're already advanced. You may be able to do a different tricks or something, but initially you have to do some basic duties. So here is saying karma karanam uchate. You have to do your duty. Work is said to be the means for advancement. So you have to do your work. You have to do your prescribed duties. But yoga rudha, what does yoga rudha mean? Advanced stages of yoga. When you are arudha, when you are already riding the chariot, I think we gave example of Garud Arudha. So when Lord Vishnu is riding on the Garud, it's called Garud Arudha. He's already riding. You're already in the chariot, well established. So Yoga Arudha, the same. If you're in that situation, Shamaha Karanam. Shama means cessation of work is considered to be the advancement. If a very advanced yogi, he will not be doing the prescribed duties, for example, because he is very, very advanced. Sometimes what happens, a neophyte people, they stop the activity, taking the excuse of yoga, thinking they are advanced. So that will not be the reason of their advancement. And this is what Krishna is telling to Arjuna. For you, what you should be doing? You should be doing your prescribed duties, not run away from the prescribed duties. Yeah, once you become very advanced, then you can leave your basic prescribed duties. 6.4. Prasanatma Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, let me try. 6.4, I'll read the translation. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. I don't remember actually, Prabhu. So many verses last time. So
I know.
Yeah,
But if you, yeah, that's okay, Prabhuji. If we just read the Sanskrit, we'll know Indriya Artheshu. So Indriya is senses, Artheshu means sense gratification. Na. So he is not involved in sense gratification. That's the first characteristic. So this verse basically describes 3 characteristics of a person who is advanced in yoga. Huh? So the first one is na indriya artheshu. That's one. Second is na karma swa anusajjate. So he does not engages himself into the fruitive activities. Huh? So one is the engagement, one is the sense gratification. Engagement means, so you go to the work, for example, right? You engage yourself in some activity, and then you get the phala, say $100, and then someone enjoys alcohol or whatnot. Huh? That's called sense gratification. But engaging yourself in work, that itself is not sense gratification, right? But you're engaging yourself in a fruitive activity, which will produce some sort of reaction as say $100, for example, right? So there are 2 stages. One is involving yourself in the activity. Second is doing sense gratification. For this person who is yoga ruda means advanced, these two does not exist. He does not engage himself in fruity activity. He does not engage himself in sense gratification. The third one, sarva sankalpa sannyasi. Sankalpa refers to, I just explained what sankalpa. Desire for sense gratification. Sarva, all the desire for sense. Sannyasi, he has actually given up the desire as well. Huh? So one is, you want to earn money, for example, that's a desire for whatever reason. Then you go to the work, right? Engage yourself in fruity activity, and then you get the money to be able to engage yourself in sense gratification. So you can say 3 stages are there. One is the desire, one is actual engagement in the work, and the next is to engage yourself in the sense gratification. But this yoga rudha vyakti, this person who is advanced in yoga, he does not have these 3 things. He does not hanker inside, oh, I need to get money, I need to get this position, I need to look like this, I need to do this. He doesn't have those. He does not get involved in fruitive activity. He does not involve himself in sense gratificatory activity. And if you are in these 3, if you have these 3 characteristics, then you are called advanced yogi. Then you can stop the work, right? But if you don't have these 3 characteristics, you cannot stop the work. Huh? Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Prabhu, I had just one doubt here.
Sure.
So for this to be, a person has to be like, he doesn't have any material obligation, right?
Yes.
Person who is having material obligation, he cannot fit in this category. Like, for example, like as a normal person like me, like we have housing loan, this and so many things. So we don't fit in this anyway, because we have to work, because we have to repay the loan.
Yes.
So desire is there, work is there, then I don't know whether it comes in sense gratification. Again, you have to repay the money.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Okay. So we can respond this question probably in 2 ways. One in a yoga way, one in a bhakta way. So in a yogi world, yes, actually, if you are involved in all these activities in yoga world, you cannot start advancement as per their definition. I was hearing one lecture, and the speaker was telling that unless in Mayavad, unless you take sannyas, you cannot start advancement. A grahastha, for example, in Mayavad, cannot start the advancement. You have to take sannyas first, then you start your journey. Now imagine if that rule applies to all of us, we'll not be sitting here and doing anything. Huh? That's their beginning. But in Bhakta world, our beginning is whenever we start chanting Hare Krishna, we start connecting with Krishna. So that's our beginning. Now, how much advancement we will do, that will depend on our consciousness in performing our seva. Now, that seva can be a direct seva to Krishna, like in the temple, you go do some direct seva, like you do some cooking part in the morning, you make nice breakfast for the devotees. So that's a direct seva. Or it can be an indirect seva where you go to the work, you get some money and you give a part of that money directly to Krishna or temple, and rest of the money you engage in maintaining your family, which is also a part of Krishna's family. So if you are doing that, actually you are completely under Krishna. And this Radhanath Maharaj says there is no activity called a material activity for a bhakta, because he performs every single activity for the pleasure of Lord. You're earning money, you're repaying your mortgages, you're looking after your kids, buying clothing for them, buying veggies for the house. This is all part of Krishna conscious activity, including your sleeping is Krishna conscious activity. Why? You have to sleep so that this body is limited. You have to get up early in the morning and you again start serving Krishna with a fresh body, with a fresh energy. Is it okay?
Yeah, I got that, bro. But only thing is, I was talking about, like, if you take Bhakti Thakur and all, he was doing that. But what about us? We will not be in that consciousness.
So
That's what I meant, actually.
yes, probably we are in a transitory stage. We are not advanced devotees. We are a neophyte devotee, at least I am. So we are in that transition stage, Prabhuji, where we are trying to make all our activity as a spiritual activity. And that's why we have to have a very strong sadhana so that we can see other activities, say material activities, as a part of our service to Krishna as well, which we are not there at this stage.
Okay.
Is that okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Most of us, I can say, we are in that neophyte state where we are just a sadhaka. We are not advanced enough to be able to see everything as a spiritual. That will come later. As you correctly said, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, they are in a different category.
And also, Prabhu, I was seeing like one of the video of your Guru Maharaj. Like he's not feeling well. That's what I heard. But we can't make out that he's not feeling well. He's completely looks like completely different. Like,
completely.
He's become more intense actually.
Yes. Same with your Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
So many so-called material attacks come on him, but he's just unstoppable. No matter what happens to his, so-called physical body, you just can't stop him. So how do you understand it materially? You can't. You can't.
Yeah.
Even 1% of it comes to any one of us will stop our whole life. Oh, I have such disease. I have so and so problem. How can I do this? And everyone will say, oh, thank you, Prabhuji. Chalega. You just chant Hare Krishna or something. But look at him. So yeah, they are in a very different position, Prabhuji, and that's why it's called advanced stage. And that's why in the neophyte stage, Krishna himself is saying, you cannot come out of your prescribed duties saying, oh, I'm a devotee now. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. You have to do all those duties and then purify yourself and then become advanced. And then you may be able to not do these things. Huh?
Thanks, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sumit Prabhu, I'll come back to you. 6.5. These two are very, very nice verses, 6.5 and 6.6.
Translation: one must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So like you mentioned, a very important verse where it is mentioned that mind can both be the friend and the enemy. So a couple of words that we picked up in this one last time, Prabhu, was udharet, which means to elevate. Then we said atmana, which is by the mind, and atmanam, which is conditioned soul. So udharet atmana manam, and then which means that the soul should be delivered by the help of the mind, which is what was mentioned. And then if we don't control the mind, so mind can drag us down. Basically, can be enemy and friend both. So we need to control the senses. Mind should be there. So we refer to that picture that we have in Bhagavad Gita, where all the senses are there and mind is controlling them. So if the mind itself is not controlled, then the thing can go haywire everywhere. Also, we mentioned the consciousness also has gravitational force. If it goes up, it will come down. So it it generally, it is flowing downwards. If the mind is not controlled, then it will take us down. And what else did I write from that one was Atmaiva hi Atmano Bandhur. So again, same thing, the mind is friend, and Atmaiva Ripur Atmana, so can be enemy. Ripu means an enemy. That's pretty much what I.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, so we can say Bandhu and Ripu. So Bandhu is one who helps us to go up. Ripu is the enemy which helps us to go down. And as you correctly said, so materially speaking, all our consciousness is also like when you throw a ball up, what happens? Ball comes down because of gravitational force. Anything which you throw up in the sky, normally, except there's a rocket, which is the rocket of Krishna consciousness. But generally, everything which goes up comes down. Similarly, our consciousness also, if left unattended in the material world, will go down. Just by default. This is the way this world is designed to not help us to grow our consciousness, rather to bring it down. Like in a spiritual world, I can give example of the temple. When you go to the temple, do you think devotees are helping you to bring your consciousness up or down? Up or down? When you go to temple? Up, obviously, isn't it? Even if you are in very bad mood, you go there and you see devotees jumping and dancing and feasting, you feel like, wow, this is so nice. And imagine if you go to downtown in the Sydney city, does it help you to bring your consciousness up or down? Down. You see all these billboards and these girls and boys and this advertisement, that advertisement. You go to the Myers, there's so much scent there, and that doesn't uplift your consciousness. That just brings your consciousness down. So we can see a small glimpse in the material world. So these temples are also a spiritual world, a part of the spiritual world. So when we go there, it brings our consciousness up, always up. You go to Mangalarti, you go to any Aarti or any lecture, classes, you just enter into that premises, you feel so energetic. So how this is happening? Because mind has two connections. Mind has one connection with the material world. Mind has one connection with the soul. So you can say this is like a middle party. One on this side, one on that side. So whoever pulls the mind in whichever direction, that direction it goes. And who will be able to pull? Who has a stronger connection. Suppose one person is the middle and two people are pulling him here and there. So who will be able to pull that person? Who has a stronger rope, who has a stronger connection. So if mind has a stronger connection with the soul, so mind will help the soul. But if mind has stronger connection with the material world, what will happen? Mind will constantly be dragged towards the material things, material consciousness, and then it can never uplift the soul. So what Shastra is recommending, to make a stronger connection with the soul, not with the material world, which already has. Because if you have a strong connection with the material world, your mind will always be, I want to get this, I want to get that, I didn't get this, someone said that. Mind is always in the material consciousness, and then it cannot help the soul. So you can take the help of the mind to uplift yourself, or you can let your mind drag you down in this material world. So that's 6.5. And Prabhupada also gives actually this nice example from Amrit Bindu Upanishad, number 2. Manaha ev manushyanam karanam bandha mokshaye bandhaya vishaya sango muktyaye nirvishayam manaha. So same mind can help you to achieve mukti or liberation, and same mind can help you to become bandha, to take bondage of this material world. So the mind is the cause of bondage, and mind is the cause of liberation. Mind absorbed in sense object is the cause of bondage, and mind detached from the sense object is the cause of liberation. Okay, 6.6. Let's do this one quickly. Vinay Prabhu, you want to do that?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
6.6, yes. Translation: for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends, but for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. It's a little bit similar but different way than the previous verse. So there's its mind become our servant, then Krishna will come to very quick. And like you give the very nice example, like in circus, when tiger they show the game or play, so make the tiger hungry. So make the control first, then you can whatever you do, tiger can perform. Otherwise, it cannot be. So in our senses, to be the very control our mind should be the very control. If we can control, then we can reach the Krishna. Otherwise, we can put this material world, and like say is Bandhu atma atmana tasya jeno ataiva atmanas jito. So if we can control, it will be very close to the Krishna. It will be happy. If it's not, it will be our enemy. It will be against to us. We cannot reach the Krishna. This is the main thing for this verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So the previous verse, I'll just open 6.5. We'll just see a clear connection as Prabhu was explaining. So you can deliver yourself with the help of the mind and not degrade. Mind is the friend and or it can be the enemy. So for whom the mind is the friend, the answer is given in 6.6. One who has conquered the mind is the best friend. And 6.5 says, your mind can be your enemy as well. Which mind will be the enemy? If you're not able to control your mind, then the mind is your enemy. So very simple definition and very logical definition. So if mind is in control, he will work as an enemy, because at the moment our mind is not purified, it's contaminated. So if you give the driving seat to a corrupt person, what would you expect the destination of your journey? In a corrupt place, isn't it? If you give the driving seat to a nice, pure person, you can understand the destination will also be a nice place. So if your mind is driving you, where it will take you? To a degraded spot. If you are driving the mind, where it will take you? To a purified spot. So basically it depends. Are we in control of the mind, or mind is in control of us? So who should be in control? Mind should be our control. Is that right? Mind should be in control? No, we should be in our control. The control should not be given to the mind. Control should be given to us. And when I say us, it's speaking to intelligence. Intelligence should be able to control the mind. And intelligence, obviously, we mean a purified intelligence. So mind should not be given control unless the mind is purified. Okay, let's do 6.7, the second last verse. This is a very, very famous verse. It's been quoted like hundreds of times. You will hear this in lectures. Jai Prakash Prabhu, would you like to do that? First, give me the relation between 6.6 and 6.7, and then we'll do the verse.
Sure. Thank you.
6.6.
Yeah, I think in the previous shlokas, I think as you had explained and Prabhus have explained. So basically, it talks about the importance of the mind, which is not only for doing any activity in this material world, but even to do a bhakti, we need to have a proper consciousness or proper mind in terms of whether it is engaged in the service of the Lord, or whether it will, otherwise it can act as a both friend as an enemy, because mind has that like it can be a dual-edged sword. But in this sloka, we are talking about the jitatmana, like the one who has conquered the mind, then he can attain the transcendence, or he can be transcendental, and always he will see the super soul, the Paramatma, Samahita, as is already attained. At least he will feel that blissful within himself, that he is able to, the one who has controlled the mind. So that we can see whenever we are totally absorbed in some of the Krishna consciousness activities, like when somebody was nicely doing a Shravanam, a Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Like we'll be completely absorbed during that time. So we feel that blissful thing. So whenever the mind automatically gets controlled. So in this, I think once if a person is able to come to that level, then for him all the dualities won't matter, like all the sitoshna, sukha, dukkha, or manopayam, which we had seen earlier, the how to tolerate them. But I think this is kind of an advanced stage where the person who has attained this control the mind completely, then he is able to overcome the dualities, and he feels always blissful because Paramatma, he can be completely absorbed in the Krishna consciousness activities, because he'll feel that bliss being in the association of devotees or guru or shastra whenever he's reading, or he feel that connection.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. So as Prabhuji nicely explained, so 6.5 and 6.6 we establish the connection when mind will be your enemy, when mind will be your friend. So if you have won your mind, then your mind will be your friend. So it says one who has conquered the mind. Now, if you have conquered the mind, what are the characteristics of that person who has conquered the mind? That is explained in 6.7. So one by one is very well connected verses. 6.7, if you have conquered your mind, jit atmanaha. The atma means, again, coming from the previous verse, you have conquered your mind. So what prashantasya? Prashanta refers to shanta, prashanta. Prashanta refers to complete shanta. He cannot be agitated like we have Prashant Mahasagar. He cannot be agitated by little bucket full of water. Suppose you are sleeping and someone puts a bucket full of water on you, cold water. Will you be prashanta or kushanta? Ashanta. I'm sure anyone who's sleeping and someone puts a bucket full of cold water on top of this person, he will be ashanta. But this person is prashanta. Even in that situation, he will be prashanta. Paramatma Sama, he has already reached, basically he has acquired those qualifications. He can feel the presence of the super soul. And now the 6 dualities are explained. We'll quickly repeat it because it's very important for us. Sita Ushna. What does Sita and Ushna mean?
Heat and cold.
Heat and cold. What does heat and cold refers to? On a physical level, whatever comfort or discomfort we feel. That's on a physical level. Sukha, dukkha, happiness and distress, that we feel on a mental level. The same news can make me happy and the same news can make you unhappy. For whatever reason, I may win a lottery and I got the lottery, and maybe lottery is coming from your pocket. You'll be unhappy. My money is gone. So all these things, sukha and dukkha, is on mental level, and man apman is on egoistic level. So there are 6 dualities. This person is not into these dualities. He does not, he always tolerate his physical Sita and Ushna, heat and cold, whatever comfort or discomfort he has gone through. Sukha and Dukkha, whatever we consider Sukha or Dukkha, he's out of that. But what we call it Sukha, whenever we gain something favorable, we call it Sukha, right? Whatever I consider as favorable. And when we don't achieve that, we call it unfavorable situation or Dukkha situation. He's out of that. Man Appan, someone praises us, we become very happy. And someone insults us with some bad words, we feel very depressed. Oh, he insulted me. But he's out of all this. Anyone knows one example in Srimad Bhagavatam who has all these 6 qualities, who were out of this?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj, okay. More is Ambarish Maharaj, okay, very nice. More?
Yudhishthir Maharaj.
Yudhishthir Maharaj, okay.
Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva, nice. Jad Bharat. Jad Bharat is a perfect example. Not these examples are not correct. They're also correct. But Jad Bharat displayed all this within his manifested Leela in Srimad Bhagavatam, which you see. Sita and Ushna, comfort and discomfort. You remember how he exhibited this quality of comfort, discomfort, tolerating the comfort and discomfort. His father, if you remember, all the past times, his father was very loving towards Jad Bharat when he was very young, right? And he was giving a lot of sukha to him. But when he left, his brothers were not very favorable to the boy. They were not giving him proper food. They were not looking after him. His father loved him. So he tolerated both. He did not complain to his brother, oh, what are you doing? Sukha and Dukha. When robbers were taking Jad Bharat to cut his head with, practically he knew about it, right? So they initially took him, and then they gave him a bath. They gave him nice clothing. They gave nice nice prasad to eat. So they were giving sukha, and just after that they took a sword to cut his throat. So they were giving dukha and sukha same time. He was completely equipoised in both situations. Man and Apman. Who gave him Apman to Jad Bharat? Rahugan. Initially, Rahugan threw very sarcastic words towards Jad Bharat. Very sarcastic words. He tolerated all this. Later on, the same Rahugan fell in front of his feet and gave him man. Oh, you are such a saintly person. But Jad Bharat was not moved by these praises or insulting words. So he is a perfect example in Srimad Bhagavatam, where he showed all these qualities present him there. He was not moved by these qualities. He was not moved at all. So that's a very perfect example of a person who's out of these 6 dualities. That's a very high situation, but at least we can meditate on it and try to tolerate at least in a smaller degree these things, a smaller degree, if not on a very high degree. Okay.
Prabhu, one question, Prabhu.
Yes,
You can say the yoga, is it similar to yoga Rudha stage? Like
yes.
person who attained, he can feel this way, he has controlled the mind.
Very advanced person, Prabhuji, definitely. Unless you're advanced, you will always in the duality. You have to be the advanced person. Otherwise, yeah, we know our situation. As I said, we're also so-called devotees, but we're not advanced. We are very neophyte devotees. But you can see in the example of Jad Bharat, he showed his advancement, and like His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj said, your advancement will be tested in the tempting situations. Tempting situations means if someone provokes you, says something bad word to you, do you get agitated? You are still shant, you are still peaceful. Someone praises you, do you feel elated? Yes, I am so great. Prabhuji, you are so great, and you really feel I am great. So that's not being out of duality. That's not the sign of advancement. So Jad Bharat represents the perfect example, being an advanced devotee. And through his activity in Srimad Bhagavatam, we can understand how he tolerated all these 6 dualities. And that can be a big example for us.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the last verse, 6.8. Charu Mataji, Hare Krishna. I know you just joined. I'm not sure you were there in the last class, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu, I was.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare
You're
Krishna.
just doing the revision and you have come on the right time.
No, I think I have come at the wrong time.
Mataji is repenting. I should have joined after 5 minutes.
Yes.
We would like to hear from you. Just a quick few words about main points about 6.8.
Okay. 6.8 translation. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or a mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. So, as per the shloka, Jnana Vijnana. Sorry, I can't even read properly. Jnana.
Yeah.
Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. So, person, one who has got knowledge, Gyan, and realization, Vijnan. One is Gyan and one is Vijnan. Gyan means knowledge and Vijnan is realization. So one who has got knowledge, which is Gyan, and realization, which is Vijnan, such a person becomes very satisfied. He is a Triptatma. And such a person is Kutastho Vijitendriyaha. So Kutastho means spiritually situated, and he is not materially disturbed. So such a person is Vijitendriya, which means he has conquered the senses, and he is Yukta as well. So he is situated. How should I say it? He is just well situated. He's connected to he's connected to Krishna, or he's connected to the Lord. And then the verse says yukta iti ucchato yogi. So such a person, when he is situated in transcendence, then he is a yogi, that is, he has equal vision to all material things and also all equipoised pebbles, so material and non-material things, as in when we say material things, so he'll see the stone and the pebble with the same equal vision. So for him, gold is also as precious as a stone, or gold is also not as precious, as invaluable as a stone. So what it really means is that that the worldly things do not make him happy, and therefore neither gold matters to him, nor stones, neither gold makes him happy nor stones make him unhappy. So he is very equipoised and therefore situated in transcendence.
Thank you, Mother. Very nice. Mother, you explained every single word nicely. So just a connection between 6.7 and 6.8. So Jitatma Prashantasya Paramatma Samahita. So first thing we have to Jitatmanaha, which is coming from 6.6, coming to 6.7, and then further being explained. So this person who's out of the duality, what is his vision towards the world? Worldly things, I should say. So 6.8 explains the vision of this person towards worldly things. 6.9 explains the vision of this person towards worldly people. So there are two things. 6.8 is worldly things, 6.9 is worldly people. So this one is first, he is equipoised towards the things. Now, what are the things? Which, as Matsadi explained, Loshtra is pebbles, Ashma is a stone, and Kanchana is gold. Now here, stone may refer to a stone, a valuable stone or an invaluable stone, whatever you want to call it. So for him, all these things are same. Why? As Mataji was saying, they cannot make him happy because they are all material. But at the same time, even the pebbles or a stone, if they are connected to Krishna, I think we give the example of Srila Prabhupada, when he's building Vrindavan temple, the cement wasn't available. And he had to do so much hard work to gain the cement. And when the cement came, he was telling his disciples, please lock up the room nicely and make sure, it's not stolen, it's not misused. And he was talking about cement many, many times. Why? Because the cement was used in Krishna's seva. If the cement wasn't there, the temple will not be able to build. So what he was worried about the cement, but that cement was not just a normal cement. The cement was in the service of the Lord. So similarly, many times devotees say, I'm a devotee, so I don't need to worry about this and that. No, devotees are actually extremely responsible, whether it's money or whether it's Krishna's things. They are very, very responsible. I remember one of the Maharaj was talking to his disciple, and the disciple was telling me, Maharaj knew all the bank account number, details, which account has how much money. He knew everything in his head, because he was building like 2 to 3 temples at the same time. So he needed money, but money for what purpose? To build temples for Krishna. So he was very careful in spending money. Prabhupada was also very careful. I think we've discussed this example once. Prabhupada was speaking to one disciple, and he said, oh, you are going to Mayapur. Can you take the check and deposit the check into the bank? He said, okay, Prabhupada, I can do that. So Prabhupada asked him, so how are you going to go to the bank after you get down from the train station? He said, Prabhupada, I'll take a rickshaw and then I'll go to the bank. Prabhupada said, how much rickshaw cost? He said, maybe like 5 rupees. He said, 5 rupees? And that was a check of like 200,000 rupees, Indian rupees that time. There were a lot. He said, the postal charges are only 2 rupees. Your rickshaw will cost me 5 rupees. So it's better I post the check rather than give it to you. Because you're spending 3 rupees extra. Prabhupada was so much concerned about the 3 rupees. Why? Because that is Krishna's money. So devotees should not be irresponsible in the name of Krishna consciousness that, oh, I can misspend the money. One senior devotee was telling me, if you misspend rather, even 1 cent, this devotee, he's been in Krishna consciousness probably for 35 years now. He said, even if you misspend 1 cent of Krishna in unnecessary thing, actually you get a reaction. Because it's Krishna's money, it's not your money. So you have to very carefully spend not only money or anything utilized in Krishna's service very, very nicely and intellectually. Otherwise, Krishna doesn't like it. When there was a need, Prabhupada spent lakhs of rupees. When there was no need, he will try to save even 2 rupees, because 2 rupees is also Krishna's rupees. Okay, so for him, it's not just if a sannyasi is looking at a gold like, oh, wow, thank you. So if he's saying thank you and you like, oh, but I've read in Bhagavad Gita, he should be equipoised and he's not. No, he may be using that gold or that cash or that money for Krishna's service, and he's happy. Prabhupada became happy when Prabhupada was given the money, but within minutes, Prabhupada will distribute money. Okay, 2 lakh goes to Juhu project, 5 lakh goes to the BBT, 3 lakh goes to this project and that project, and money was finished. He wasn't using that money for his personal gratification. He was using every single rupee or dollar in the service of the Lord. So that one should not be misinterpreted. And Prabhupada writes very nicely this verse from Nectar of Devotion. Atah Sri Krishna Namadi na bhavid grahyam indriye sevon mukhe chevadu swayam ev smriti adaha. So how you will able to understand? By seva. When you do seva, service to Krishna, then you will understand from inside. Sphuruti will come. Krishna will help you to get his remembrance. Okay, so this 6.8 is the vision towards the worldly things. Now 6.9 is the vision towards worldly people. Who will read that? Who hasn't read it? Sevan Mataji, would you like to read?
Yeah, sure. Just a second. Surmitrari Udasina Madhyashta Dveshya Bandushu
Madhyastha Dveshya Bandushu
Sadusa Api Cha Papishu
Sadhushvapicha Papeshu
Sama Buddhir Vishishyate.
Sama Buddhir Vishishyate.
A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious, friends and enemies, the pious, and the sinners, all with an equal mind.
Thank you, Mataji. Now, before we get into this verse, just a general concept. See, looking at the things with the equal vision is easy. Suppose a devotee is walking on the road and he sees a $100 note, for example. No, it's very attractive, green color note. You can buy quite a few things, but will you really get attracted towards a $100 bill? To be very honest, not really. It's not so difficult to not be attracted towards $100 or maybe a bigger amount of cash or something. But that's towards the mundane things. So a devotee is not so much attracted. But a devotee has a particular vision about a particular person, right? Oh, he's my friend. He is not my so good friend. Oh, this devotee I can never get along with. Huh? This vision exists. So having an equal vision towards things is easier, but having an equal vision towards person is very difficult, isn't it? We all have certain people in our mind, it's just in the mind, who we consider as our well-wishers. And certain people we consider as our sort of envy, not envy, but sort of. No, I cannot sit with this person. I cannot work with this person. I cannot do service with this person. It's a very higher platform. So 6.9 in that sense is a higher platform which this person exhibits, who is a yoga rudha, who's an advanced yogi. So what are these different types of people? Krishna goes in quite detail. Suhran means a well-wisher. And that can be anyone. Krishna says, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam 5.29. So Suhran means a well-wisher by nature. We see many people around the world, maybe your brother, parents, neighbor, anyone can be your Suhrid. Mitra, Ari. So there are two words. Mitra refers to the friend. Ari refers to your enemy. We have Kansari Sen Das. So Kansa Ari. So Ari refers to the enemy of Kansa. Who is the enemy of Kansa? Is Krishna. So Kansari Das Prabhuji in temples, for example, he is a servant of that Krishna who is the enemy of Kansa. So Mitra Ari. So three words are there. Udasina. Some people are neutral. You expect something from someone and he doesn't speak up. He's a udasin. He's a neutral person. Madhyastha. You'd have heard this word mediator many times in the material world. They use it for counseling and all that. So there are mediators. So when two parties are having different opinions, a person will help them to talk or try to resolve the conflict. Desha refers to the envious person, who's envious of you. So Ari and Dvesha is a little different. So Ari refers to enemy who's like a enemy. He will see you and he will try to, do some harm to you. Dvesha, he's inside, very jealous of you, very, very jealous of you. Whenever you get some material advancement, he's always jealous. Why is he getting extra money? Why is he getting position? Why people are going after him? He's envious of it. Bandhushu. So Bandhushu refers to your relatives. Now, what's the difference between Mitra and Bandhushu? Bandhushu refers to who are created by some relation. For example, if you get married, so you have a wife or a husband, and then husband's relative, for example, also becomes your relative, isn't it? Husband's father becomes your father-in-law, for example, or mother-in-law, or sister-in-law, or brother-in-law. That's why they're called in-law. In-law means in-law, they are relative. So it's called bandhu. Bandhav means they have come out of a bondage, of a relation which you have established in the world, which has come out of this bondage. So bandhushu, relatives. Sadhu swapi, so a sadhu person. Apicha papeshu, and even to a papi. Papi means a very, very sinful person. So this person has sama buddhir vishishyate, have equal buddhi, equal intelligence, equal vision towards all these people. How many categories are there? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 categories are there. He has an equal vision. You can imagine the consciousness of this person, extremely high, extremely high. How can you look at a sadhu and a papi, a sinful person with the same vision? But this person, anyone can give an example of this having all the 9 qualities?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj, thank you. Narad Muni, I remember. For example, he's going to Ratnakar Daku. He is a very, very big sinful person, but he's still preaching to them. He's going to Hiranyakashipu, he's going to Raman, he's preaching them. And he's preaching at the same time to Prahlad and Dhruva, who are very favorable, Many times he works as a madhyastha, he works as a mediator. Sometimes he is neutral, Narad Muni, for example. And even if someone is envious of Narad Muni, for example, Daksha Prajapati, he was envious. He cursed Narad Muni, but Narad Muni was still a very good friend of Daksha Prajapati, although he was Dveshi, he was cursing him. Okay, so there can be more examples in Shastra. Okay, 6.10. Jamati Mataji, would you like to do that?
Yogi unijata satatam.
Yogi yunjita satatam.
Atmanam rahasi sitha.
Atmanam rahasi istityaha.
Ekaki yata chitatma.
Ekaki yata chittatma.
Naishir aparagraha.
Nirashir aparigraha.
A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is the series of verses which I said earlier, 6.10 to 6.15 is the realization of Brahman. And from 16 to 23 is a realization of Paramatma, and 24 to 32 is realization of Bhagwan. So first set of verses, realization of Brahman. So what are different characteristics of this person? Yogi Yunjit Satatam. So Yunjit means, Prabhupada writes, must concentrate in Krishna consciousness. So engaged. A yogi who is engaged. How often he is engaged? Satatam, he is always engaged. How he is engaged? Atmani. So Atmani can refers to inward. So basically we are engaged outward. We look outward, we desire outward. We want to achieve different outwardly objects, but we hardly look at inside. Because when we look at inside, there's nothing much there at this stage. Or we may have a lot of desires inside, a lot of unsatisfactory desires, a lot of hankering, lot of lamentations, all these things. But this yogi who is constantly concentrating in Krishna consciousness looks inward. Rahasi isthita. So rahasi means he lives in a secluded place. Isthita, where does he live? Where is he situated in? Rahasi, in secluded place. Means that is not a very crowded place. You don't go to a pub or a bar to practice your Krishna conscious activity. Although you can practice, but very difficult. Preferably you go to some other place where you can chant with peaceful mind, not with agitated mind. Ekaki, and that in secluded place also. Secluded place you can say where there are less people, like yogis used to go to jungle. Now, jungle does not mean no people. Jungle means less people. So secluded place, not where cars are passing by, horns are there, and all these noise are there. So secluded, but in secluded place also ekaki. How does he live? Akela. He lives in alone. Not that he's chit-chatting with other yogis. So what's happening in Russia today? What's happening in match today? What's happening this and there? So what's the afternoon news, evening news? No, he's ekaki, yat chittatma. He is always careful with his mind and engaged in Krishna service. And the last two characteristics given, nirashir, is without being attracted by anything else. So he has his goal set. Vyavasatmika buddhir eke hai kurunandana. So his determination is very resolute. Nirashir aparigraha. So parigraha refers to possessiveness. Aparigraha, he is free from the feeling of possessiveness. So it does not mean he does not have any possessions. He is free from the feeling of possessiveness that I am the one who is the owner of this. So he lives in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feeling of possessiveness. Obviously, here desire refers to material sense gratificatory desires, not Krishna conscious desires. Okay, go to the next one, 6:11. Who hasn't done as yet? Rupam Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Rupam Prabhu. Okay, maybe he's not there on the phone. Rahvi Mataji, would you like to do this?
Yes, Prabhuji. So you want me to do all the 4 lines or just 2 lines?
Just do 2, Mataji, and then we can discuss, and then we can do the next one.
Sucho deshe pratishtapya.
Sucho deshe pratishtapya.
Sthiram asanam atmanaha.
Sthiram asanam atmanaha.
Natya ucharitam nati nicham.
Nati ushritam nati nicham.
Shailajina kushottaram.
Shailajina kushottaram. So we can read Mataji till here.
Sacred place. Okay. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place.
Thank you, Mataji. So sucho they say. So we have a word suchi, asuchi. So suchi and muchi, we use this word quite often. So suchi means pavitra, holy, sacred. So in a sanctified deshe, deshe means a place, pratisthapya. So where he should make his bhajan kutir, you can say, in a sacred place. The place is very, very important. It should be very clean. Isthiram asanam. Isthiram asanam is not, asan should not be a moving asan. Your seat should not be a moving suit. We have this musical chair or something. People round and round, goes round and round, and the music stops, they stop. I remember one example given by Gauranga Prabhu. Prabhupada went to one temple, probably in Auckland. So they have 2 sets of deities, one set of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and one was Gaur Nitai. And when they installed the deities, they didn't have much place. So devotees thought of a very creative idea. So in the front, they have Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and at the back of the altar, they had Gaur Nitai, and they had a moving altar. So altar will keep moving. So when Prabhupada, the right Prabhupada didn't know about it, so he did pranam to Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and when he got up, he saw Gaur Nitai, and he said, "What is this?" He said, "Prabhupada, we have all the deities in a small place like this because altar is moving. They had some motor or something." Prabhupada said, "Don't do like that. It should be isthirasan. Isthirasan means asan should not be a moving asan. Otherwise, your mind will be in the moving chair all the time. So that's not recommended." So he's saying a yogi's asan should be, the seat should be isthirasan atmana, and he should be concentrated on atma, on the self. And how, what's the position of the asana? What's the position of the seat should be? Na ati ushritam. Ushritam means ucha, high. It should not be very high. Suppose you sit on a mountain top. So what you will be looking? Inside or just a natural view? Oh, that mountain is looking so nice. That river is looking so nice. So you'll be just doing a view around. That is also not recommended. Na ati nicham. Nicham means nicha. It should not be very low in a ditch. So you say, oh, it should not be in a high mountain, so it should be in a ditch. Now, if in a ditch, what will happen? The water may come in the ditch. Some animals may walk in the ditch. So it's a very difficult situation actually. Snakes may come in as well. So all these things are there. So it should not be very high. It should not be very low. Chailajin Kushottaram. So Chailajin refers to a tiger skin. So you can probably take a tiger skin or Kusha Uttaram. Uttaram refers to the mat and made up of Kusha grass. So you can take a mat of a Kusha grass or a tiger skin. Now you'll say, why tiger skin? Now, tiger skin does not mean you kill a tiger, not like that, or kill a deer. Some people use deer skin, tiger skin. Now, when the tiger or deer naturally dies, then you can take their skin, and their skin is very helpful to keep the flies and snakes and other cockroaches, etc. away. Because if you're a yogi, you're trying to meditate, if a snake walks in, which you're not aware of, will you be very happy when you started crawling on your body, or some flies come in, and those sort of animals? So tiger skin or deer skin are very helpful to keep these entities away, and they are meant for that purpose. And you can take them when a person is, the animal is naturally dead. Prabhupada said, even if you want to eat meat, you should wait for animal to naturally die, then you can take the meat. You cannot kill the animal. That you cannot do. So similar goes for the skin as well. And that's why we see many yogis in the past will have a deer skin around them. Not by killing the deer, but just by the natural death of the deer, they will take the skin and use it for a good purpose. Okay, so second verse. Now also the 6.11 talking about the externals, external controls or external measures. 6.12 talks about the internal measures. So who will read 6.12? Vinay Prabhu is ready.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare.
Tatra ekagram mana kritta
Tatra ekagram manah kritva
jata chitta indriya kriyaha
vita chittendriya kriyaha
upo visya asane junjat
upavishasane yunjat
yogamatma vishuddhaye.
yogam atma vishuddhaye.
So, translation:
Read from here.
the yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, sense, and activities, and fixing the mind on one point. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So tatra ekagram. So ekagram refers to he should concentrate his mind. Manahakrita. He's concentrate on mind. And yat chitta. Chitta you can refer to consciousness. Indriya is senses, and kriya his actions. So he should control yata. He should control. Yata refers to the control his mind, senses, and actions, which Prabhupada writes said. Controlling his mind, senses, and activities. Upavishasane yunjat. Upavishasana refers to sitting. We have upavas word, for example. So upavas, sitting close to Lord Hari. So upavishasane yunjat. Yogam, he should perform the yoga. He should practice his yoga. For what purpose? Atma Vishuddhaye. So this word is very important. Atma Vishuddhaye. If you remember from fourth chapter, even in third chapter, we read the purpose of yajna. Anyone remembers the purpose of yajna? The first purpose, I should rather say, of yajna. There are two purposes of yajna.
Purify the senses and mind.
Thank you. Purification. The second one is liberation. So first purpose of yoga was purification. Second is the liberation from the material existence. So why are you performing this yoga? You're performing all the external things and the internal things. Why are you doing that? Atma Vishuddhaye. So this we may not be performing this Ashtanga yoga. We may not go to a secluded place and sitting alone and doing concentration over nose tip and all that. But what we can take from these verses, the principle which you can apply in improving our Krishna consciousness. And one principle which you can take, we should sit in a place while chanting, for example, which is not too high, not too low, not too many disturbing elements are coming, not too much noise is coming. And we should concentrate our mind. We should invest our energy in chanting Hare Krishna. And what is the purpose of all that? Atma Vishuddhaya, self-purification. Our mind is contaminated. If we invest our energy in these things properly, then what will happen? Our mind will be purified. Our consciousness will be purified. Atma Vishuddhaya. Okay, 6:13. Okay, we have two verses together as well. So it's just expanding on this yogi. Who wants to do? Prasannatma Prabhu, you want to do one?
Okay, Prabhu. Samam kaya shiro grivam.
Samam kaya shiro grivam.
Dharayan achalam stira.
Dharayan achalam stiraha.
Samprekshya naisika graham. Samprekshya naisika graham swam.
Samprekshya nasikagram swam.
Samprekshya nasikagram swam.
Samprekshya nasikagram swam.
Dishaschana avalokayan.
Dishaschana avalokayan.
Translation. How many lines, Prabhu?
Probably the first one. There may be some mixes, it's okay.
Okay. One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stay steadily at the tip of the nose.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So again, 13 refers to the external, 14 refers to our internal setting. So what is the external setting? Samam. Samam is a straight. What you have to put in a straight line? Kaya. Kaya, everyone knows, body. Shira is our head, and Griva is refers to neck. So our body and neck and head should be on a straight line. So we should not be sitting like in a hump position or in a very relaxed position, like in a sofa. No, your head and griva, your neck and body should be in a straight position. Dharyan achalam istara. Dharyan, you sit in that pose, achalam istara, and you should not move. No, constantly moving here and there. And what you should concentrate on? Sampreksha. You should be concentrating on nasika agram. So we all know word nasika refers to the nose in English. Agram refers to the tip of the nose. So where you should be concentrating on? The tip of the nose. If you remember in the 5th chapter, 27 and 28 verse, we're talking about Bhruva Antar. Bhruva Antar refers to the middle of the eyebrows. So either you should concentrate on middle of the eyebrows or Nasika Agram. Why should we do that? Anyone knows? Why are we concentrating on the tip of the nose or in the middle of the eyebrows? Charu Mataji is about to say something. No, I thought you're moving your hand. Anyone? Any ideas? Guesses? Why these two spots are recommended for ekagrata, for concentration? What's the specific about these two sort of places? And you will read this many places.
I think when we concentrate on our nose, both the eyeballs come here, and it is a particular mudra. I forget the name. It's a particular mudra in yogasan, which helps you concentrate. Also, this is called your third Ajna chakra or something. So again, this helps you focus on the Lord.
Okay. Yep, that's good.
I forget that name. When you focus here, it will come back in a minute.
That's okay, Mataji. That's okay. But you told the concept. Anyone else? Vinay Prabhu, you're about to say something.
Prabhuji Mataji says similar things.
Yeah. So there asana on a external note. So this is the technical note which Mataji and Vinay Prabhu is trying to say. On a external note, if we concentrate on some external object, say for a tree or a mountain or river or something, because there's a movement, you cannot concentrate outside, right? Now you cannot concentrate inside because you're not advanced as yet. So you concentrate on these two. What's the important thing about these two? There's nothing important. That's the important thing. There's nothing important, because if they are important, that means there will be a movement and you will not be able to concentrate, because there is no movement here and there's not so much so a specific thing about them. So this is why a yogi chooses these tips to concentrate, because there's nothing. If you look at the nose tip, what's happening here? Nothing is happening here, right? But there's some object where you can focus. Huh? So similarly, in the center of your eyebrows, there's nothing much happening there. And obviously, we have internal technical reasons as well. Huh? So you should concentrate on these two because there's not much specific happening all the time. And the last line says, this is cha anavloken. So avloken refers to see, anavloken to not see. What you should not see? This refers to 10 dishas, 10 directions. So you should not be just constantly looking at the sky, what's happening, or there's a kite there, there's a bird there, or river, what's happening, who's in my left, who's in my right. This is cha anavlok. You should not be looking around. This basically, don't look around, concentrate on the tip of your nose, and ekagra, you concentrate your mind in here while sitting straight, and not just sitting straight for 1 second, you should be sitting straight for long time. Achalam istiraha. So that's the external setting. What's the internal setting? Maybe Rupam Prabhuji can cover that. It's verse 14, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhu, yes. Prasanatma Vigata Bahir
Prashantatma Vikatabhir
Brahmachari Vrate Stita
Brahmachari Vrate Stitaha
Manaha Samyamya Machito
Manaha Sanyamya Matchito
Yukta Asita Matpara.
Yukta Sita Matparaha.
So everyone missed the first part. So could I read the entire translation again?
Prabhu, you can start from here. I've highlighted the second line, Prabhu.
Yeah, okay. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life.
Thank you, Prabhu. So now it's talking about the internal second. So Prashantatma, not Prasannatma. Prasannatma is sitting there smiling. It's Prashantatma. So what does Prashant mean? This word is coming again. Shanta and Prashanta. What's the difference? Shanti. Huh? Completely peaceful. Completely peaceful here refers to from inside he's peaceful. He's not agitated. Some shant. We may be shant right now, but after half an hour, we can become very ashant. Huh? Because some desires come in the heart, some anger come in the heart, blah, blah, blah. We become ashanta. So this person is not like that. He's prashantatma, or he should be aspiring to become prashantatma. Vigat bhir. So bhir refers to bhaya, fear. Now, you should not be always be fearful. I have my mobile phone next to me in the jungle. Who will steal my mobile phone? Someone may come and shoot me. Someone may steal my chappals, my shoes. So if he has all these fear in his mind, he cannot concentrate. He cannot concentrate on Paramatma. So Vigat, Vit, Rag, Bhaya, Krodha, if you remember 4.10. So Vigat means the bhaya should go away, the fear should go away from this person's mind. His mind should be very shant, very peaceful. There should not be any bhaya in the mind. Brahmachari vrate istitaha, and he should be a complete celibate. Now, this is a very big topic, but we'll just take a proper translation for this context, completely free from sex life. So he should be very celibate in his practices. Manaha sanyamya. So again and again, this point is coming. Mind should be sanyamya, controlled. So it's not saying mind should be stopped, as impersonalists say or some other religionists say. No, mind should not be in void. It should be controlled. And controlled for what purpose? Mat chitto. This is very important. Now, even this yogi is where it's concentrating on his chitta, his subconscious mind. Mat chitta. In the last line, say mat paraha. So two important aspects are given. Even in the yoga, you have to take shelter of Krishna. Without Krishna, you cannot successfully perform karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga. Obviously, Bhakti Yoga is all about Krishna. You cannot perform any yoga practices without the help of Krishna, including this Ashtanga Yoga. Krishna is saying, Mat Chitto. Clearly, Krishna is saying, Mat Chitto, your chitta should be in me, not in the world. Yukta Asit, and what you should be Yukta, well situated with Mat Para. Para refers to Parayan. means take refuge, take shelter in me. And Prabhupada writes, make me the ultimate goal of life. So these two words you can take, very, very important. Again, as I said, we can take some principles from these verses. We may not be able to involve in all these practices word to word, but we can take the principle and apply in our sadhana life and try to improve the sadhana life. So two aspects we can take, mat chittaha, mat paraha. In previous verse, we saw the principle was yogam atma vishuddhaye. Why we should do this yoga and spend our energy in, say, chanting Hare Krishna nicely, atma vishuddhaye, for self purification. And the next step we can take, mat chittaha, your chitta should be in Krishna, mat paraha, Krishna should be your goal. Not that I am learning Krishna consciousness just to make my living, for example. Many people charge for reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, they charge for many other things like that. That's, in that sense, Krishna is not their goal. Through Krishna, what they're trying to achieve, their material goal. They're trying to achieve some material position, their name, or trying to earn money on the name of Krishna. They sell Bhagavatam. I heard in a lecture that in India, I think it was Amog Leela Prabhu telling they have packages for Bhagavatam. I didn't know that actually. So for 2 lakh rupees, you get this package when only one person speaks. For 5 lakh, you get another package of Bhagavatam. You'll have, 3 people speaking on different topics, different days. And then if you want to have some drama and music and all that, 7 lakh package. And you can choose whatever package you like. I was like, wow, they're selling so nicely these things. But for what purpose? They're selling Krishna for their material purpose. And with the money, what they do? They buy TV and then the cars and the houses and all that. So they're using Krishna for not matpara. Krishna is not their goal. Their goal is to achieve well-situated material arrangements through Krishna. But here Krishna is saying machitta and matparaha. Next verse we'll see the fourth point actually. 6:15. Who hasn't done as yet? Maybe we can repeat. Charu Mataji, would you like to do one?
I can try. Yunjanevam sadatmanam.
Yunjanevam sadatmanam.
Yogi niyata manasaha.
Yogi niyata manasaha.
Shantim nirvana paramam.
Shantim nirvana paramam.
Matsamastham adhigacchati.
Matsamastham adhigacchati.
Translation. Thus practicing constant control of the body, mind, and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains to the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Yujunnevam sadatmanam. So, practicing person, evam, as mentioned above or as mentioned in the previous verses, sada atmanam. So, atmanam, Prabhupada writes here, the nice translation here, body, mind, and the soul. So, he is not just including the mind, he's saying body, mind, and soul all together is atmanam. So, this yogi is constantly engaging his body, mind, and soul in the practices. Sada word is very, very important. Not, oh, I only do yoga, 6 to 7 a.m. in the morning, and rest of the time I do any nonsense things. It doesn't work that way. Yujannevam sadatmanam. Yogi niyat manasa. He's constantly controlling. Niyat means controlling his mind. Constantly controlling his mind. No breaks. Shantim nirvana paramam. So what sort of shanti he will achieve? Paramam shantim. Paramam shantim, transcendental shanti. Not just shanti of this material world where there's no war, weather is good, bank balance is all right. That sort of shanti, that's not what is aspiring for. Paramam shantim is aspiring from. And nirvana word, we read in 5th chapter many times. Anyone remembers a simple meaning? There can be multiple meanings of nirvana. So Vard refers to
liberation.
Liberation from material existence. So Vard is material word, material existence. Nirvana means where there is no material existence, but it does not mean void. Prabhupada said very, very clearly. I was reading here. So I'll just read Prabhupada translation. Purport, nor does cessation of material existence entail one's entering into the void, which is only a myth. There is no void anywhere within the creation of the Lord. Rather, the cessation of material existence enables one to enter into the spiritual sky, the abode of the Lord. So there is no void anywhere within the creation of Lord. So it's just a imagination of the mind by some so-called religionist, which they say will enter into void. Our mind will become void. Soul will enter into void. All these voidism does not exist. Prabhupada just straight away rejects that concept of voidism. So Shantim Nirvan Paramam. But what does Nirvan means? He will go beyond the Van, beyond the material existence. His material involvement, engagement will cease, will stop there. And then finally, what will happen? Mat Samsthanam. Samsthanam refers to my abode. In the previous verse, you remember there were two aspects we read: Mat Paraha and Mat Chittaha. So here we are reading Mat. If you are Mat Chittaha, if you engage your mind, your consciousness, subconscious in me, Matpara, you make me ultimate goal. What will happen eventually? Mat samsthanam adhigachati. You will attain my abode. So it's a step by step again. So 6:13 and 6:14 was explaining. I'll just go quickly and show you those two words. Okay. So Matchitta, the first step was Matchitta, Matpara, you make me ultimate goal. You engage your mind in me, make me your ultimate goal. What will happen? Mas-sansthamadikachan. So eventually you will come into my abode, Prabhupada writes, you will attain to the kingdom of God by cessation of material existence. So it's a step-by-step process. Even in the Ashtanga Yoga, you can see how the things are working, and we can apply the same principle in our devotional practices. 6:16. Now 6:16 and 6:17 are very popular verses. I'm saying in terms of Krishna consciousness. Let's see why. Who wants to read again? Seva Mataji, we are back to you.
Sure, I will try. Not asnatas to yogosti.
Nati ashnastu yogosti.
Nachai kantam anasnataha.
Nachai kantam anashnataha.
Nachati swapna shilasya.
Nachati swapna shilasya.
Jagrato naiva karjuna.
Jagrato naiva charjuna.
There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi or Arjuna if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough.
Thank you, Mataji. Now, this section is which section? It's the realization of Paramatma. We are in the second section now. So the whole section goes from 10 to 32. How many? 23 verses, which tells from sadhana to siddha. So from a sadhak to siddha, from an imperfectional stage to a perfectional stage. So we are moving step by step. So 10 to 15 was the realization of Brahman. Now 16 to 23 is the realization of Paramatma. So we are in that section now. 6:16. The first verse Krishna is saying, which is very important, na ati ashnas. Ashnas mane? Anyone knows ashnas? Okay, you can look in the proper translation. To accept, to eat. So na ati ashnas, don't overeat. We all do that many times, especially in festival days. What festival is even at home? Karthik is going on. Many devotees are trying to control this eating thing, and they were telling after Karthik we eat double, triple. Some people have left sweets. They say Sara quota pura kar lete hain. All the quota will recover after Karthik. That's not the point actually. That's not the point. The point is we should just go upward. Trying to control, but it's not easy. It's not easy. So na ati ashnas, do not accept a lot, means do not overeat. Yogi, if you are a yogi or you're practicing yoga, do not overeat. Na cha ekantam anashnataha. Anashnata means or do not eat enough. So ashnata refers to eating, ati ashnata overeating, anashnata refers to not eating enough or not eating at all. Same principle applies for a devotee as well. If we eat too much or if we eat too little, we will not be able to do our devotional practices nicely. Why do we eat? To get energy. And then with the energy, we serve Krishna. Suppose we overeat, what will happen, Rupam Prabhu? Sleep. We'll all sleep. And we have seen...
Nidra Yoga, Prabhu.
Nidra Yoga. Another yoga will start, which is called Nidra Yoga. That's absolutely true, Prabhu. We go to temple early morning, and then you have a nice breakfast at 9:30. You come home, and then you feel so sleepy, so sleepy. Uh, so that's not recommended. At the same time, some devotees do not eat at all. And what happens to them? Their body may become so weak that they cannot serve Krishna. So even overeating or not eating or under eating, both are not recommended. Third thing Krishna is saying, na cha ati swapna shilasya. So ati refers to over again. Swapna shilasya means to sleep. Do not oversleep, jagrato nai, or do not undersleep. How many hours you can serve Krishna constantly? 10, 12, 14, 16, and after that, I've seen some garland making devotees, they just sit there for hours and hours and hours and hours. But it's very difficult seva, very, very difficult seva. So Krishna is saying there's no possibility of once becoming a yogi if one eats too much, ati ashnash, or eats too little, which means anashnataha, means you're not eating at all, sleeps too much, ati swapnashilasya, or does not sleep enough, jagrato naiva charju. So you have to have a balance. So verse 16 talks about the negation, and verse 17 will talk about the affirmations, the positive sides, what you should not do and what you should do. So what we should do, that we'll read in 6:17, another famous verse. Jai Prakash Prabhu, you ready to read?
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, because I need this very much.
We all need this one.
Yuktahara viharasya.
Yuktahara viharasya.
Yukta chetasya karmashu.
Yukta chestasya karmasu.
Yukta swapnava bodhasya.
Yukta swapnava bodhasya.
Yogo bhavati dukkhaha.
Yogo bhavati dukkhaha.
He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system.
Thank you, Prabhu. So this verse, Prabhupada quoted many times in his classes, and even many devotees quote this verse. Is very, very nice verse. It sort of establishes the standard on a normal life for a devotee. So yukta ahar. So yukta here, Prabhupada translates as regulated. So there are four things mentioned in this verse: yukta ahar, yukta vihar, yukta chestasa, yukta chesta, or yukta karma, or yukta swapnava. What are the four things? So ahar refers to eating. So we should have a regulated diet. Now, regulated diet for me can be different, maybe different than your regulated diet. I may need, 4 chapatis, and someone else may need 6 chapatis. For him, it's a regulated diet. That's how much his body needs. So we should not compare, oh, I only take 2 chapatis. Look at this glutton. He's eating 8 chapatis. That's his stomach, that's his life, that's his body. We don't know his bodily situation. So we should not compare. We just apply on ourselves. If we need 4 chapatis, ideally it says you should only eat half of your stomach, and half of the place you should leave for some air. And I think there's a saying, Chaitanya Prabhu says, I can't remember, you should only eat half, and another half your doctor lives on, isn't it? You live on half of your food, and rest of the half your doctor lives. Because when you overeat, you have to go to the doctor. Doctor saab pet mein dard hai. I have a stomach pain. So your doctor lives on another half. So you should eat very regulated. So it says if you have hunger for 4 chapatis, you should only take 2. If you have hunger for 8, you eat 4, only half. And many times if you think, should I take more? Chaitanya Prabhu says, if that's a question comes to your mind, what you should do not take. Because the question is coming, that means the base is satisfied. Now you're in mode of greediness. Maybe one more gulab jamun, and then maybe one more. Why not one more, another kachori, another pakoda? Why not? So no, mostly the answer will be no. So yukta ahar, yukta vihar refers to recreation. So no, it's not expected you will not do any recreation. Now you will see what a bhakta will do recreation. So in Vedic culture, the recreation for a bhakta was swimming, walking. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, if a yogi goes for a walk in the jungle, that's his recreation, and that's allowed. That's allowed. Now, if you're watching sports in the TV, crickets and footballs and whatnot, that's not called a yukta vihar. That's not considered very conducive for a spiritual life. So yukta means again some walking. Prabhupada used to go for a walk. Many sannyasis go for walk. I'm remembering Bhakti Charu Maharaj and Anand Maharaj as well. They go for swimming. So this is just to maintain their body. So that is perfectly fine practices. Yukta chestasya karmasu. How much should be our chesta in our karma? This is very, very important, especially for devotees. So it should be regulated efforts for your activity. So here activity refers to say your job. Suppose you are working 9 to 5 job and you bring some money to maintain Krishna's ashram, which is perfectly fine. But if you're working every day, for example, 9 to 9 or 9 a.m. start and 12 a.m. finish, how would that work in your life? You can't do on a regular basis. And you can say, oh, I have to earn extra money to repay my mortgage pretty fast or this and that. But that sort of extra working for long period is not recommended, because you'll break down your health and your enthusiasm for devotional practices will go down. So that's not recommended. Slow and steady. Sometimes you may have to have some deliveries in office. You have to get involved, over time and all that. That's okay. What can we do? We can't just quit the job all the time. But generally speaking, your work should be very regulated. Prabhupada said 6 hours, and nowadays you can say 8 hours. So 6 to 8 hours, whatever minimal is there, we do that. And rest of the thing, whatever Krishna gives $10, that's okay. Krishna gives $100, that's fine. So we do some nice balanced activities. That's called Yukta Chestasya Karmasu. And sleeping, Yukta Swapnavabodhasya, how much should be the sleeping? Prabhupada said 5 to 6 hours. That's what Prabhupada's recommendation is. But again, it may vary person to person. If you are only sleeping, say 5.5 hours, and whole day you are feeling sleepy, or very unproductive, what you should do? Take extra hour or half an hour, whatever needed for your body, and do that, and be productive for rest 18 hours or 17 hours, rather than having 1 hour less sleep. I've seen with me, I will be honest, many times I take less sleep and next morning at least I'm totally unproductive. I'm there, but I'm not there. But I get another 20 minutes nap and I'm fresh. So sometimes they are needed for their body. I remember one devotee was telling getting up early for him was very difficult for me as well, even now. So he practiced, and after 1 or 2 years, he practiced literally so much. He will get up probably 3 a.m. Nowadays, he gets up at 1:30 a.m. And he doesn't sleep at all during the day. He has just got into that rhythm. He said, my energy levels are perfectly fine during the day. I don't need extra sleep. And he just sleeps probably at 8:30, or probably, yeah, 8 o'clock around he sleeps. He gets up at 1:30, 1:45, and that's it. He takes his bath. He finishes his 16 rounds before Mangala Aarti, and he is at Prabhupada's Samadhi at 4:10 in Vrindavan. So that's like very, very nice stage. So it's just a matter of getting into that rhythm. Many times we feel sleepy because the body is not into that rhythm. It doesn't mean no one will be in the rhythm. It's just we are not in the rhythm. So if we constantly do this, my Guru Maharaj said, if we do any practices for 21 days, it becomes a habit. So we should try Mangala Aarti, for example, for 21 days. Don't try for 1 or 2 days. And this instruction is for me as well. I'm speaking for myself, you can say. So yeah, if we practice it for longer periods of time, our body will get into that rhythm, and then we may not need extra breaks during the day, or extra sleep. But the point is, sleeping is considered waste of time, extra unnecessary sleep. Prabhupada said, even if you give hundreds of gold coin, you cannot bring even a 1 second back. So sleep as much as needed, as little as required for your body. Rest of the time, work for Krishna. And if you do that, what will be the result? Yogo bhavati dukha. Ha refers to kill. So in Ishopanishad, we read the word Atmaha, I think 3rd or 4th verse. Atmaha, killer of the soul, we call it. So dukha. So if you want to take miseries out of your life, what you should do? Balanced diet, balanced recreation, balanced work life, and balanced sleeping. Now, we know as per Mahabharata, we have these 4 basic activities: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So we can translate this: eating, yukta ahar; vihar, recreation, as per Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, it can be taken as our mating, our meeting of male and female. So that can be taken as recreation. In the current modern world, many people, most of the people, I should rather say, have that recreation in their mind as the top priority. as much as possible. They like to have that recreation. So eating, sleeping. So sleeping is referred in the third line. So yukta sleeping. So eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Defending can be taken as yukta chestasya. So proper defense. Proper defense means not over defense. Like you're constantly into, is my window, every single window is locked. Every single hour you are going and checking your window, checking your car. No, obviously a devotee is very responsible. They do the job, but after that, okay, as Krishna desires, not because of irresponsibility, because of the reliance on Krishna. After you have taken the responsible steps, whatever happens is in Krishna's hand. So eating, sleeping, mating, and defending should be regulated. And if we regulated, all the material miseries will be gone away. Okay, 6:18. Sumit Prabhuji, would you like to read?
Yada viniyatam chittam.
Yada viniyatam chittam.
Atmani eva vashyate.
Atmani eva vatisthate.
Nispraha sarva kamebhyo.
Nispraha sarva kamebhyo.
Yukta ityuchyate tada.
Yukta ityuchyate tada.
When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, yada viniyatam chittam. So, viniyatam refers to as discipline. Again, so similar thoughts are coming again and again, which again means it's very, very, very important. So, Krishna is saying, chittam, your chitta, your mind and related activities, your subconscious mind, vinitam should be controlled. Atmani eva vatisthate. So, where you should be situated? We're not talking about physical situation. Your mentor says you live where your mind lives. If your mind is constantly hankering, say for a car or house, every single house you see or every single car you see, oh, that car is nice, that car is nice, oh, that car is not so nice, I like that car and that car has this feature. Sometimes you have some desires and every single thing you see through, you'll see through the same thing. Some Mataji, they are looking after their kids. Their mind will be in kids. Some Prabhujis is thinking about car, there will be car. Any desires come into mind. If you are unhealthy, suppose you have diabetes, every time you'll talk about diabetes. Everything you'll relate with diabetes because you have diabetes. So similarly, whatever comes in our forefront, we just keep filtering information around us with that filter, whatever it may be. Suppose you're looking for a house, every time you look, oh, house price is going down, house price is going up. What's the interest rate these days? You're filtering that information, and same news another person may get, but he's looking for a car. Every time he's just looking for a car. So is it, oh, this car is on sale, he'll be passing by in the road, oh, there's a label in this another car which has a mobile number, this car looks nice. So we all get the same information, but we filter as per our needs, as per our desires, we filter that information. So where this person is situated, Atmani refers to inwards, is not situated in any worldly objects. Eva vatisthate. Tisthate refers to situated. And Nispraha Sarva Kamebhyo. Kamebhyo refers to Kama, Kamana, desire. Sarva Kamebhyo, all the desires. Nispraha. So Ispraha refers to Trishna. I hanker for that thing. Nispraha refers to I do not hanker for any worldly desire. So this person do not have any hankering for the worldly desires. If yukta, if you are there, iti uchate tada, then you are a yogi. So again, different characteristics of this person is being defined. So he's situated inwards, his mind is controlled, and he has given up all the worldly desires. Okay. And Prabhupada gave a very, very nice example in this connection. And he repeats this example many times in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita as well. Savai Mana Krishna Padarvidya. How can you do this highest stage? If you put all your senses and mind in the service of Lord. Maharaj Ambrish example. Very, very nice example. You can read this. Probably you would have read it before coming to the class. 6:19. This is also a good analogy given. Vinay Prabhu, would you like to read one more? Maybe yes. Ragvi Mataji.
Sorry. Yes, Prabhuji. Yatha Deepo Nivatastito.
Yatha Deepo Nivatastho.
Nengate Sopama Smrita.
Nengate Sopama Smrita.
Yogino Yata Chittasya.
Yogino Yata Chittasya.
Yunjato Yogam Atmana.
Yunjato Yogam Atmanaha.
As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist whose mind is controlled remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self.
Thank you, Mataji. Yatha Deepo. So we all know Deepa. Kartik Mas is going on. We definitely know Deepa. So a Deepa Nivat. So Vat refers to Vayu. If you know Ayurveda, we have Kapha Pitta Vayu. Rupam Prabhu is smiling. He's a good Ayurveda person. He knows a lot. Vata. So Vat. Nivata refers to no Vat. No Vat means no Vayu, no air, no wind. So if a deepa, if a flame is in a place where there's no vayu, there's no wind, constant wind coming, will it flicker? No. Sometimes, we go to the park offering lamp to Lord Damodar. It's very difficult because so much wind is coming. But if the wind is not coming, then it's easy. I went to Brisbane, some devotees last year. Anyway, so we went to, what do you call, I don't know the name, a court, a badminton court, in-house badminton court. What do you call that? Anyone would know. Anyway, so when I was playing for the first time, to be honest, anyway, some devotee, some little recreation activity, it was very nice. If you play the badminton in a park, it's difficult because the shuttlecocks keep moving. There's so much vayu coming. So I said, "Oh, this is very nice." He said, "I have paid for it." I said, "Oh, that's why." So you have to pay to book the court. Anyway, what I'm trying to say, when you have a flame or shuttlecock, whatever you want to call it, when there's no wind, it's easy. It's easy. So what is a flame here? Flame is our consciousness. And what is a vat? What's a wind here? It's our desires. Suppose you have lots of desire in the heart. Can you concentrate on the holy name or in your services? Because your heart is constantly burning with desires. I'm wasting my time in chanting Hare Krishna. I'm wasting my time in temple, cutting vegetables or doing some other deity seva. Because I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to attend this, I have to get this, and I have to look at the prices of this sale and that's it. Your mind is constantly agitated. You cannot concentrate. But suppose Nivata is a very high stage, you have no material desire. Can you concentrate? Yes. So Yatha Deepo. So it's an analogy given by Krishna. Yatha Deepo. As a Deepa, as a flame in a place where there's no vat, there's no wind, is constantly burning very nicely. Our consciousness will be burning very nicely. Our consciousness will be able to focus on Krishna and his services if we have no desires, or you can say less desires. The lesser the desire, the better the concentration. Okay. The more the desire, the less the concentration. And that's why you see when you go out, I'm sure all of you are doing many Damodar program. You go in outside Damodar program, the people cannot sit in the class. Even for a 30-minute class, it becomes so difficult. They're looking here and there, look at the phone, look at their kids, and you're like, I'm the only one is speaking to myself. No one is interested in listening to you. You crack some joke and they're looking in each other's face. Because they cannot connect. They cannot connect. Their mind is so flickering. You go in devotee's house, you're so nice, and you say, Prabhu, please more. Can you tell more? 1 hour goes just like that. You don't realize. You feel doing it. Outside is a little difficult because their connection is not there with Krishna. They're constantly agitated. Ye ganja kab bolna band karega? And then I will eat something or I'll attend my cricket score and whatnot. Constantly thinking like that. So Yatha Deepo Niva. It's a very nice analogy. So again, the lesson here, we should have less material desire if we want to advance in the spiritual life, and slowly no desires at all. Okay, we'll do probably 1 or 2. They are little verses actually, or we can do this one. 20 to 23. It looks big, but it's not big actually, except 22, which is very nice. So 22 is a very, very nice verse. I'll give to Charu Mataji. She's super duper expert in Sanskrit. Not other devotees are not.
No, Prabhu, I am not.
Okay. We're all learning, Mataji. It's just you have learned more than us. That's all.
Yatro paramate chittam.
Yatro paramate chittam.
Niruddham yoga sevaya
Niruddham yoga sevaya
yatra chaivatmanatmanam
yatra chaivatmanatmanam
pashyan atmani tushyati.
Pashan atmani tushyati. I may not be able to break down exactly. Mataji, let's read the whole thing and then we'll go to translation.
Okay. Sukham atyantikam yattat
Sukham atyattikam yatat
buddhi grahyam atindriyam
buddhi grayam atindayam
vetti yatra na chaivayam
vetti yatra na chaivayam
titas chalati tatvatah
chalati tatvatah
yam labdva chaparam labham
yam labdhava chaparam labham
manyate nadhikam tatah
manyate nadhikam tatah
yasmin sthito na dukkhena
yasmin sthito na dukkhena
gurunapi vichalyate
gurunapi vichalyate
tam vidya dukha samyoga
tam vidyat dukha sanyoga
viyogam yogas samam
sangitam sangya.
sangitam.
Yes, if you use Sanskrit, you can see the word sangitam. Yoga sangitam.
Viyogam yoga sangitam.
Viyogam yoga sangitam.
Translation. In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material, mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So Prabhupada has put around 4 verses in one because they all relate to the same thoughts, and Prabhupada has done it at multiple places in Bhagavad Gita. So he sometimes combined 2 verses or 3 verses or even 4, you can see here. I think this is the maximum number of verses Prabhupada has put together, but you'll see they all have a similar thoughts. That's why Prabhupada is doing that. So yatro uparamate chittam. So uparamate refers to cessation. Ceasing. Chitta refers to the mind or mental activities. Niruddham yoga sevya. So you have this word nirodha. You'll read in Srimad Bhagavatam. There are 10 characteristics of Srimad Bhagavatam. So 11th canto refers to this nirodha, where withdrawal from material cessation. So niruddham yoga seva. So niruddha refers to your mental activities are completely stopped from the material perspective. From material perspective, niruddha, you have withdrawn your material mindset. Yatra chaivatmanam yatra chaivatmanatmanam Pashyan Atmani Tushyati. So where he is looking, Pashyan Atmani, he is looking at inwards, and Tushyati, Tushyanti cha, Ramanti cha. If you remember from the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita, so this Bhakta is looking inwards and is completely satisfied. Now, when we look inwards, are we satisfied? We have to ask this question. We are not, and that's why we look outward as well. When we are chanting Hare Krishna, we're trying sometimes, we're looking inward, we're trying that, concentrate on the holy name. But sooner or later, our mind again goes outward, again goes out. Why? We are not satisfied with that holy name itself at this stage. If we are satisfied, like Rupa Goswami, then we'll not look outside, we'll not think about outside, we'll not give any priority to any other desire except listening the holy name. This person, Pashyan Atmani Tushyati, he's looking inwards and he's satisfied. And he's so much satisfied that Sukham Atyantikam Yattat. Atyantikam Sukha refers to the transcendental Sukha, not just Sukha of watching a movie and laughing and eating a samosa or pizza or something like that. Atyantikam Sukha, he's having so much Sukha. Buddhi grahyam atindriyam. His buddhi, because his buddhi, his intelligence is receiving the sukha, which is atindriya sukha. Atindriya sukha refers to transcendental sukha. So our eating samosa or pizza or watching a movie or a cricket or football, whatever, that's not authentic sukha. That is just a flickering sukha, flickering happiness, temporary happiness, some agitation, you can say, of our senses. Our team wins and you're like, yay, yay, my team won the match. Huh? That's not authentic sukha. It means inside you feel it. And I'm sure you sit in, say, Shipalat Prabhu Kirtan or some nice katha, you really feel it's so nice, it's so blissful. Huh? Many times you have a glimpse of that sukha. Vyakti yatra na chaivayam issa chalitatata, and he's moving constantly towards inside. This verse is important. I know it's 9:17. I'll stop here because 22 I want to spend some time. It's a very important verse from principal perspective for devotees. So we'll try to understand it. Okay, we'll stop here. Any quick announcement, Samit Prabhuji?
No, Prabhuji, not for this week. You had made the announcement last week about the date for the exam. So.
Yay! Date for the exam. Everyone is very happy, enthusiastic. So it's 11th of December, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. So please make a note in your diary and please make a good attempt. It's going to be an easier exam. Ghanshyam Prabhu has said it. So, but please make a good study. You'll be able to pass the exam very easily, but make good study. And we have enough time. And obviously you need to submit all your assignments before the exam. I know many people have submitted it, so thank you again. And who have not done it, please try to do it ASAP. So we have enough time for preparation of the exam. And hopefully we will finish 2 weeks before the exam, and last 2 weeks we'll keep for some revision and question answer and other things, whatever is possible in the last 2 weeks. Okay, let's stop here. It's 9:18.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,